Hello, everybody. So, I'm supposed to be going live with Buitumelo, and connections are giving us flames. Yeah, I tried joining her live, and yeah, for some reason I couldn't join. So she is now. Okay, I've just accepted. Let's hope this works. Oh my gosh, IG will show you. There we go. Hello, Mama.
Hi, can you see me? I can't see myself. It's like black. Can you see me?
No, I can see you, darling. Can everyone else see her?
Yes, guys, please let us know if you can see me. Technology showing us flames.
Can they see us both?
Lori of Kiki, can you
Somebody
see us?
say yes, please. And by the way, just an apology that I'm sitting in the car. My child has a play date, and yeah, this is the quietest place that I can be at the moment. So yes, we can see you both. Awesome.
Yes.
Miss Babe Lebu is joining us all the way from Ghana. So yeah, wow. This is awesome. Awesome. Welcome everyone. Hey Pato.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Can I ask something? So when because what I normally do is that at the end of the interview, I save it to my IGTV just so that I can have it on my IGTV. So because we've gone live via you now, if you can do that for me, and then I will save it from there, and you can always delete it afterwards. So if you
no, that's perfect.
I'll remind you.
It's not the greatest because I am up and about because of my child, motherhood. Hello. It would have been great if I was home. Yeah, so I really hope the network will hold up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also tackling the motherhood thing. As you can see right now, I've got there's an extra little one here with us.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, are you good? Can I finish? Okay, I'll come and help you. Yeah, so he's saying to me, this morning he was asking me, he's like, oh, today, who do you have? Because he knows I do these on Saturdays. And he's like, who do you have today? And I told him, and he was asking me so many questions. I was like, just wait and you will see. So I think that's why he popped into the room now, just to come and see who it is.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, I hope I fulfilled his dreams, whatever those were.
I'm sure you will. I'm going to close the door because he hasn't closed it. Please bear with me. One second.
Perfect.
Cool. I'm back. So, wow.
I'm sitting in a car with closed windows, so I hope I don't start like breaking a sweat while we're speaking, but it's okay. I've dealt with much worse. No. There's cars outside. I'm in a parking lot, guys. I'm sorry. I couldn't cancel the live. I have to still fulfill my promise. So, yeah.
I'm so happy. And I'm actually super amped that you obviously agreed to having the session with me, because I think you are such a queen. And even that picture that I chose to create the poster, I was like, oh my goodness, she looks so regal, so stunning. So stunning.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it, and I've seen a couple of people join. I think a few people who know us both as well. You know, both of us being from Mahikeng as well. So I think a lot of people are also excited.
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that until today. Hey, home girl.
Hey, homie. We're doing the thing.
Yes, Maptown girls.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm completely honored that on my final Saturday of August being Women's Month, you are the queen that I'm sitting on this platform with. I'm super excited. So when I started this whole thing, just to give you a bit of context, I just thought, because for me, it's so important that people are authentic, because I think when you're authentic and you stay true to yourself, that's when you thrive. So there are a few people that I jotted down, because I was like, I'm going to have these sessions and I'm going to speak to a few people that I really look up to, that inspire me in so many different respects, you know, people who are living in their truth. And I'm going to bring them on this platform because I think we learn from one another, us having this conversation. Other people that you're touching. So you are on my initial list. So I had this hit list in the beginning where I was like, okay, I'm going to give this thing a go. It's scary because I'm like putting myself out there, doing live interviews. Live is not easy. But there are these kings and queens that I want to speak to, and I really hope they'll agree. And when you agreed, I was like, oh, I'm so excited.
No, I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Awesome stuff. And even, I mean, you having to parent today, but you still chose to still make the time. So I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, so I think let's get right into it. Letshego, you're such a queen.
Sorry, just before we do that, your video is blurry and someone actually just mentioned it as well. So I don't know if you are able to move around at all.
Let me see if maybe I change my connection because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. Maybe if I connect via my phone, let me just change that connection.
Okay.
Cool.
Clean up your screen. Okay. I think her screen is clean. It's just the connection. So we're going to wait for her to reconnect. No, it's still the same. It's still the same, but the thing is, your voice is clear. So really, we just got to choose our battles. It's good that we can hear each other, and I'm sure, you know, yeah, it's better.
Actually, that's for me the most
I think
important.
we can deal with the blurry video. Let's just get the conversation going.
Happiness. Good to go with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Awesome. Are you settled? Are we good to shoot? Can we go ahead?
Yeah. We all good. Okay. All good.
Let's do it. So, Letshego, I've already mentioned that for me, you're such a queen. And this is from me watching you in so many different respects, like what you've been doing. But before I even speak about, you know, who you are in terms of what we see, what you've shared with us, I want to know, who is Letshego from your perspective, other than what we observe? Because obviously we see you doing all these things, and how do you view yourself? Who is Letshego?
First and foremost, Letshego is a mom. And I always start with that because, you know, motherhood is, for me, the greatest gift that has ever been bestowed on me. The greatest gift that Googs left me with, the greatest gift from God. I wake up every day and I'm grateful for this position that I've been put in. So first and foremost, Letshego is a mom and she is loving every moment of it. She's a lover of life. And you know, my lover of life situation has always been there. And I think over the past 4 years, I've just loved life even more, purely because, you know, not every day, like on a daily basis, we're not guaranteed that we're going to wake up, if you know what I mean, you know? And I think after experiencing what I did 4 years ago, I was just like, hi, if you wake up every morning, the first thing you must say is thank God that I woke up, and every night as well. So she's a lover of life. She is an adventurer. I hardly ever, those that are close to me know that Letshego actually doesn't really know the word no. I throw myself into anything and everything out there because, you know, my thing is, if not, why not? You know, I live every day and I give my all to anything and everything that is presented to me. Obviously, I do know the word no, but in terms of adventure and what life has to offer, you know, I am very often the person that just says, you know what, if not, why not? So I'm an adventurer. I'm a lover of life. I'm a businesswoman. I am, I'm a sportswoman. You know, there's a lot of things. I'm an author now. Yeah, so that's me. It's I'm one person that wears a lot of hats, and yeah, I'm a philanthropist. I'm just living life, guys, because hey, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Sure. It isn't popular. And, you know, someone in the comments is saying, I think some of your friends are also connected, and they're saying that you really are an inspiration and attesting to the fact that you never take no, like no is not a thing for you. And somebody else also said it's quite infectious, and it is. And look at me. I think I met you at the book launch. I went for one of your launches. It was a Sandton City one when I you know, after you had published the book and you had that launch. And I was like, you are so, I think your energy, when one is we see it from afar on your social media and all these things, but I think being in your midst as well, I felt it. I felt it. It's such a real thing. Like, and it's so inspirational. As young as you are. Yeah.
And you know, a lot of it actually I learned from Googs. You know, when we met when I was 16 years old, sweet 16. And I know. And we were together for 16 years, you know, essentially half my life at the time when I lost him. And over the 16 years, with him being 6 years my senior, he was obviously experiencing a lot of things ahead of me. And just what I actually idolized Googs, you know, interestingly enough. I've never really spoken much about it, but I looked up to him because Googs was, when we met and I was 16, he was juggling 3 jobs at once. And I was just like, dude, can you just focus on one thing at a time, you know? Because that's what we taught in life. So I think over the past 4 years specifically, I've essentially become like him, because I had first-hand experience of seeing somebody living life to the full. You know, when Googs passed away, he was 38 years old, and a lot of people said Googs lived a fuller life than many 70-year-olds. You know, you go out there and you just give it your all, you know. And I often say to people, you know, when I die one day and I get to heaven, I want an audience waiting to hear about all my experiences in life. And hence you see me like throwing myself into all kinds of things, because it's just that whole thing of, you know, tomorrow's not guaranteed to you. Even though I'm not saying go out there and be reckless with your life. Obviously, you have to assess every single situation that you throw yourself into. But my whole thing is, life is honestly not guaranteed to everybody. And if you can give today your best, then hey, you know, if it happens that tomorrow your eyes need to close forever, you know, be okay with that, because you gave this life thing or this life experience the best that you could.
Sure. Have you always been like that, or was it something that happened in your life that like was a trigger to say, because I lost a friend at the age of 19, and that for me was a trigger to say, you are not guaranteed the next day, so you've got to live your life to the fullest. So were you always like that from a young age, or did something happen that sort of triggered that in you?
You know, I think I've always been a go-getter. A lot of my friends, like one of my friends, Sheila, we've been friends since standard 2. See, now I'm exposing my age. Standard 2, I think, was in like 93, 94, back then. And, you know, she's one person that will say to you, yo, Letshego was always like on the go. But that for me comes from having a mom and looking up to a mom who was constantly busy. My mom was a sportswoman. She used to run. She used to play netball and basketball and tennis, and you know, and that's why for me sport has always been the central theme in my life. Team sports, individual sports, and it transcends into what I do outside of sports, if you know what I mean. That go-getter lifestyle. It obviously got amplified over the past 4 years, but I think I've always been a go-getter. Pushing boundaries. I'm one of those people that, you know, don't come to me and say, no woman of color has ever done this. It's like, why not? Okay, I'm going to be that woman of color. So yeah, I guess you could say that it's something that I've transcended into over the past couple of years. And the basis of it has been that sportiness and throwing myself into all kinds of things. I mean, if I once sat a couple of months ago and thought about, I can't remember the exact number, but I think I've probably partaken in like 12, 13 different sporting codes, even though I don't do them today. But it was like, you know, at my school, they'll say, okay, you know, next term there will be cricket. And I'm like, oh, let me go try that out. You know, I'll try it out for a couple of days. If I don't like it, okay, fine. But at least I tried it out, you know. I'll go and try triple jump or long jump or high jump or, you know, tennis and squash. And I did it all. I was just that person that just had no boundaries. You know, and I was lucky enough to have a mom that was more than willing to invest in anything to do with academics and sport. Those were two things. If I ever asked my mom for money for a pair of jeans, she'll say, save your pocket money. But if I said to her, please, can I try basketball next semester? And basketball requires these shoes, mom. And she was a lecturer, hey? So mom kind of, yeah, I don't know how she did it. And I'm ever so grateful to her. But she, I guess, was the fuel behind my fire.
Ooh, wow. Fuel behind your fire.
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, it's such a, the opening line when you started, when I asked you about who Letshego is, the first thing you spoke about is the fact that you're a mom, and now you're obviously quoting or giving us just an indication of what kind of home you grew up in. With your own daughter now, with what your mother allowed you to be exposed to, are you doing the same? How, in terms of her personality, does she also have, and I know she's still quite young, does she have that thing in her as well, where she wants to try different things and she's daring? And if not, are there any ways that you're trying to push and encourage her to be more adventurous, I guess?
Yeah, you know, it's that whole monkey see, monkey do phenomena. I do things in front of her. I allow her to see me swimming, cycling, running, doing all kinds of things, you know. Now I'm into car racing and I'm navigating, and I bring her with so she can see what mommy is up to. And it absolutely has, you know, poured fuel into her fire as well. And I think also the way I'm bringing Letu up, I constantly say to her, sweetheart, you can do anything that you want to do. And hence, yes, of course, I've been the instigator of a lot of things. You know, my child started swimming at the age of 6 months because it was just one of those things. Yeah. She's not going to be that child of color at school that's in the shallow end while everyone else is on the diving board in the deep end. No. So it helps, I guess, to have a mom that's there to push you and nudge you in certain directions and be able to fulfill certain things for you. But yeah, she's a go-getter. I mean, my child, essentially, like for example, she didn't know how to cycle, but she was still on training wheels in terms of cycling at the beginning of lockdown. And luckily, for once, her mother was home. I taught her how to cycle during lockdown, and now she's that girl that's at the bike park, and she's just, you know, So yes, it is rubbing off. The apple didn't fall far from the tree, and but it takes a lot of doing as a parent, you know. So it definitely is rubbing off onto her.
Wow. And, you know, you're speaking of, obviously, that feeling that fire and having your hand almost in so many different pots, because you're a businesswoman, you're an author, you are doing adventurous things, and you're just so daring, you're always pushing the barrier. Now, how do you balance it all, including the motherhood role that is so important to you? How do you find that balance?
The simplest thing is, you need to schedule everything as a meeting in your life. I have a diary. I even schedule her play dates. I schedule her swimming lessons. I schedule my gym sessions. So everything for me is a meeting. Yeah, so it's honestly as simple as that. We all have the same 24 hours that Beyonce has. So you know, the best way that I've managed to juggle everything is to essentially diarize everything. If I'm doing a campaign for a certain brand on social media, I will schedule that on, you know, on such and such a day, on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. I need to post for XYZ. If I've got a meeting, or not even a meeting, if I have drinks with a friend, I will schedule it as a meeting. So everything is a meeting in my life, including my child's play dates. And yeah, that's something that has worked for me for the longest time.
Yeah, I think that's important for your sanity. And I mean, I remember when I first approached you.
Yeah, someone just said Beyonce has 72 hours in a day. Wow, guys. She's like 24, trust me.
Look, the rest of us are sitting here and we watch the Beyoncés and the Letshegos of the world, and we're like, how are they doing it? They have the same 24 hours as we do. How are they humanly doing it? But, yeah?
No. I was saying, like, one person that I look up to is Somizi. Like, Somizi, he's like he's got 20 fingers in all pots. You know, he's got fingers and toes actually in all pots. And I'm just like, you know what? If that guy can do it, we all can. So I'm just like, I'm out there. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta, I think as people, we tend to limit ourselves. And that is one thing that I used to do. As I mentioned earlier on, when Googs and I were still dating, we dated for 13 years, so I got to watch Googs properly. Guy was juggling 3-4 jobs all at once. And back then I was still like in varsity and I was focused just on my books. And, then I used to get like promotional work for weekends to earn an extra buck. And I would say, no, I need to focus on my books. And, we limit ourselves and we box ourselves. Yeah. But you know what? We all learn. And I'm glad that I've managed to learn this juggling thing, and it works for me. I love being busy. I don't like idle time, as much as I love watching Netflix. I'm just like, I'd rather watch Netflix when there's absolutely nothing to do. I'm not a TV person. I haven't had, okay, I hope nobody from DSTV is watching, but I haven't had DSTV for like the past 4 years. Can I not lose any campaigns, please? But you know what I mean? So like I love being busy and I love involving myself in all kinds of campaigns and giving back as well. Some people are just like, yo, Letshego, you're busy. And I'm just like, but I choose to be busy. And I schedule everything. So I know when things are in my diary. I hate idle time because I feel like it's wasted time.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying something quite important about how people will say, oh, but you're so busy, because people often view it and they're like, what, you can't sit still. It means you're afraid of being silent, in silence. And I'm like, I can relate to you in that way very much, where I'm always doing like so many things. I'm working, I'm studying, I'm parenting, I'm doing this thing on Saturdays. And I don't even feel like for me, this is natural to me. And other people look in from the outside, so I can relate to what you're saying, and that people will be like, oh, but you're busy. Please, you need to. But if you've got it working, and you schedule the time, and you know what's going on at what point in time, hey, you're not killing anybody.
We actually schedule the quiet time as well. I do sleep. I love my sleep, guys. I get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep typically when I'm good. So yes, of course I do. What? I love my sleep, guys. Even my grandmother knows I can go home for musebetsi of any sort, but once we have those grannies that come and sleep over and they want to wake you up at 5 a.m. for tea, she's just like, "Tlogela ngwanaka a robale. Ngwanaka o rata boroko," So everybody around me knows I love my sleep. And I do schedule those spa days, so rest is part of the scheduling. Yes, I am busy, but the busyness is a choice. It's a choice.
Absolutely. Someone earlier on, there was a question they were asking, what do you live for? What does Letshego live for?
What do I live for? I live for peace, hey? I think I actually started living for peace after I lost Googs. That's when I remember switching off everything around me. I stopped listening to the radio. I stopped reading newspapers. I stopped watching TV. And I was just like, hey, this thing called peace and silence is absolutely amazing. And a lot of things bring me peace. It doesn't mean that when I refer to peace, I'm talking about complete silence. For me, even giving back brings me peace, I do work for the Nelson Mandela Foundation. I do work for Caring for Girls. I do work for Kids Kicking Cancer. Things like that bring me peace, I live for seeing my daughter laughing and just like being bold and like, Lilith is confident here. Just watching my child being confident and just going out there and conquering, that brings me peace. So I live for peace. Yep.
Wow. And it's one of those things you can't even, it's not like, peace, you can't get into a shop and buy peace. You cannot get into a shop and buy it. So it's something that you've got to...
I think it depends on... So I'm one of those people that, anything and everything that I involve myself in, even just going to a shop, I can go grocery shopping for peace. I know it sounds weird. It really sounds weird.
Girl, you gotta do my groceries. I do not like grocery shopping. You gotta do my groceries.
Anything and everything can be a peaceful experience if you choose to look at it that way. I'll give you an example of a situation that should have brought me stress. I remember the one time, maybe about a year or so ago. No. Maybe about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I had just bought a new car. My first car that I bought for myself, by the way, because my mom bought me a car when I was a student and so on. And then it was sponsored vehicles here and there. Now I'm back to a sponsored vehicle. But this one was the first time where every month I was getting a debit order. And I'm driving down Witkoppen. One evening it's raining and an Uber driver smashes into the back of my car. And I remember stopping. Obviously, I had stopped at the traffic light, and this guy slams into the back of my car. Luckily, I had a tow bar. And I remember stopping for one moment and thinking, good heavens, you know. But, you know, I stepped out of the car as calm as ever, walked to I told, Letty was in the back seat. I said, sweetheart, are you okay? She said, yes, mommy. I said, I'm coming back. Stay in the car. I walk out and I looked and checked if there's any damage. Luckily, like I said, I had a tow bar. So his car had the damage and mine didn't. And I said, you know what, my brother, you're very lucky that there's no damage on my car. I wish you all the best. Good night. And I left. Now, a typical human being would step out and throwing your toys out and you're screaming and you are stressing yourself. So for me, it's that whole thing of any and every situation that I get myself into, I want a peaceful outcome. And even if I'm faced with, you know, a response from the other person, you know, whether they are screaming or whatever, I try and keep my peace, try to keep them calm, and because at the end of the day, I don't want to walk out of this with heartache. Gugu's mom often says, you know, when we talk about road rage, for example, she's like, "Yay, don't scream back at the taxi driver. He's gone. Yes, he's cut in front of you and he's gone and he's going to enjoy his day. For you to be hooting and screaming and throwing middle fingers out the window, you're upsetting yourself." So I'm that person
and
that's just like, you know what I mean? He's gone. He's gone. You are now going to be screaming and yay. Guys, peace is that thing that I strive towards on a daily basis.
Sure. That's a powerful one. And, you know, your journey with Googs, I mean, we all saw it when Googs was still around, how you guys were so smitten with one another. And, you know, that venture couple, it was so great to see. And obviously what happened was tragic, you know, what happened on the mountain. And I remember reading in your book, you know, when you are, I think you're getting into the detail about what was going on and the different moments. And I cried. I couldn't help but cry. And, you know, I go through the book because I was saying to friends of mine, they haven't read the book. And I said, you've got to read that book because I said it's one of those books where you go through so many different emotions. You know, there's you're heartbroken, so you're crying somewhere. And then you're sharing with us the journey afterwards where you're evolving. And, you know, a year later, a year after his passing and the strength that you're exhibiting, and we're like, how does this woman have the courage to keep going? The title says it. She says she chooses to live. And I'm ever in awe of that. And I just, now it's what? It's been 4 years now, or is it 3 years?
4 years. Over 4 years.
4 years. And how is it now? Because you speak about peace, and I know they always say with time things get better. When you think of him now, when you think of those moments on the mountain, what do you experience? What are the emotions, some of the emotions that you experience?
You know, oopsie.
Yeah, I'm still here. Cool.
So I dropped the phone. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. My magnetic holder thing, my magnetic holder gave in because the car's so hot now. Okay, I'm going to have to hold the phone then. Um, you know what? How do I even put it? Googs was a lover of life, and probably a good 3 months or so, I started thinking about him and what he would want me to do. Hence the title of the book, I Choose to Live. Yes, I am saddened that we lost him so early in life. But the truth of the matter is, and this is something that a friend's mom said to me quite recently, but it's something that that's always crossed my mind, is that, you know, when we are all born, God stamps us all with an expiry date, and then he hides it. And that expiry date, he will say, you are going to live on this earth for 38 years. When I'm mang, you'll be here for 15 years. When I'm mang, you'll be here for 115, you know? And it's up to us to accept life as it's presented to us. So those that we lose along the way, who are we to say, yo, mang passed away at such a young age? So the sooner we accept that change is the only constant in life, and by change, I mean, many people will be born and many people will die, and we will all die at different times, and none of us knows when. The sooner we'll be able to navigate through life. I think I remember reading something that Eckhart Tolle wrote about how, as human beings, we need to learn to accept the impermanent nature of everything in life. And one of them is people's lives, if you know what I mean. We are all going to exit the world at some or other time, you know. None of us are guaranteed to live for 100 years. So the sooner you accept that, you know what, this is this person's full stop. This is the end of their journey, and I'm grateful for their journey and the impact that they had in my life, but my life is still continuing. Then you will be a better person, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You know,
I also remember about 6 months or so after he passed away, I can't even remember who it was that sent me this video on WhatsApp. It was a video of how life is like a train ride. You know, when you're born, you jump onto your parents' train and you go on this journey with them. But somewhere down the line, the train will stop. And as do trains do, they stop at various points. Some people step off, some people step on. And yes, when some people step off, it doesn't necessarily mean death. But sometimes it's that friend where you're just like, our journey as friends has come to an end, so please step off my train. But sometimes it's somebody passing away. And unfortunately, the train continues to the next stop. And somewhere down the line, you'll need to step off the train permanently. So yeah, life is like a train ride, you know. You'll ride with people for many years, and at some point they might need to step off the train. But it's up to you to decide to celebrate that time that you spent with them on the train.
My goodness.
Or be stuck in a dark hole, and just never progress in life. But you know, the truth of the matter is the clock never stops ticking. It never pauses. It never reverses. So it's up to you to decide to pause your life and be stuck in a black hole, or to continue living it. Because listen, like I said earlier, life is not guaranteed to everyone. So are you going to pause your life and say, yo, Googs is gone, I can't continue living life? Or are you actually going to give it your all and experience this gift? Because life is a gift.
Jeez. That gave me so many goosebumps as you were talking. My goodness. Yo. You've been told you're deep, right? I'm sure you've had it many times. You've heard people say that to you.
But you know what? It's reality. It's the reality that a lot of us avoid, you know. Change is the only constant. I'm not sure if you've seen that on WhatsApp, but that has been my WhatsApp status for a very long time, for a couple of years now. Change is the only constant. We're going to lose some people, but many other people will be born, and many other will meet other people along the way. Life is forever changing, and currently with COVID-19, you know, it's yet another change, and it's either you're going to crumble or you're going to catch the wave and ride it.
Sure. Such strength. Yeah. I mean, you're a human being, like everyone who's connected to this that's watching. You know, I think there've been so many comments around. People are really loving what you're saying because you're inspiring and touching so many people. Your words are healing. And I mean, you're not speaking from a place of, sorry, my son keeps coming in and not closing the door.
Oh. No, it's okay.
So you know, sometimes when someone speaks and it's almost like it's theoretical. You've gone through the loss. You know what it's like. So I think a lot of the time we never understand when we're going through certain things. And you having me here talk about your experience, especially now, as you say, in COVID-19, people have lost loved ones. And it's one of those things, you know, when we are born, there's one thing that we know for sure that is going to happen. Death will happen. It's part of life, as crazy as it sounds. So I think
part of the cycle. Part of the cycle.
It is. It is. And I think it's so refreshing to see a young lady such as yourself, you know, through the book, having read the book, and how you've jotted down every part of it to say the grieving process, what happens when you're falling apart, when you're having to gather the pieces now, your life without this person that you spent so long with, because they've now gotten off the train and you must keep going because you must still keep going.
Yeah.
You haven't reached your final destination. And
exactly.
Are there any daily sort of practices that you do? Because as I was saying, that you're a human being, so I'm sure no 2 days are the same. There will be days where you're feeling a little bit low. And in those moments, what are those things that you do to sort of just uplift your spirits and bring yourself up back into this frame of mind that you have at the moment?
You know what? I allow myself to go through the motions. I'll tell you this much. So this year, around the 18th of July, which is the day he passed away, I was broken. I fell apart from actually about 24 hours before that. So already from the 17th of July. And I think it had to do with the fact that it was lockdown and I couldn't like keep myself busy with something. But it's a good thing. I'm glad I experienced it. You know, my mind was back on the mountain. And the thing is, to sit and try and distract myself or try and get myself out of it, that's not the way to do it. You allow yourself to go through the motions. I cried. I had no more lashes come the 19th. I had to go for a fill. So I don't, you know, I'm not for try and uplift yourself. You need to go through the motions. It's part of the journey. You know, I remember probably within that first year, I had moments when I would be driving down William Nicol or driving wherever in traffic, heavy traffic, and I'd be bawling my eyes out, you know, and I'd look left and right and I see people looking at me and it's like, I don't care. I'm going through something, you know. I had times when I would walk into a supermarket and I would bawl my eyes out. So you allow yourself to go through the motions, and you know, the roller coaster, it goes up and down. At some point it will slow down and stop. And I've allowed myself to process it, you know. So like, for example, 2 nights ago, I got a little bit upset with this one lady where, you know, someone that I know passed away, and I went to the house to go pay my respects. He's got 3 kids, and one of the middle child, she's probably about, I think she's about 14, and she was crying, and this lady said, "Be strong." And I'm like, stop it. Don't do that. Allow her to go through the motion. She's just lost her dad. So yeah, I'm all for go through the motions, you know, cry. Okay, I don't know what else people do, but go through the motions. Go through the motions. Because that's
Sure.
also a way, I wouldn't say that's a way of dealing with it, but it's a way of processing what has gone through or what you have gone through.
Sure. You know,
Yeah.
it's like one of those things, day and night, they both have to happen. You can't continuously have day. You can't continuously have the summer. You've got to have the winter at some point. So I think it's quite profound that you say that you have to allow yourself to go through it. And I
Different
suppose there's no time frame even to it. You've got to just,
yeah.
I mean, one would think it's 4 years later for you. One would think you know, you shouldn't cry. And here you were crying in July. But somebody who hasn't experienced loss in that way will assume and make those assumptions that, no, why are you still crying? It's been gone for 4 years.
No, you go through life and allow yourself to experience what you want to experience, you know. As it is, Lele too had just turned 1 when her dad passed away. And just this, probably like earlier on today, I think around midday, a picture came up on my Facebook, and it was a picture of her and Solo. I don't know if you know Solo, the singer. His family was very close to my family. And I think it was about 2 months after Gooks passed away. We were at the park with him and his family. And it's a picture of Letu, and in the background, it's Solo. So she looks at this picture and she's like, Mommy, where was Daddy in this picture? You know? So I'm just like, well, Daddy wasn't there, my angel. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Moving right along. So I make it a normal conversation. You know, one day, like, Letu would go 6 months without saying anything about her dad. And then she'll ask a question or she'll say something. And it's just like I take it as it comes. But to try and suppress and say, no, we don't do that. We don't, you know,
Oh, that's not the way to do it. Wow.
No. But that's the thing. There is no particular way to do anything. There's no handbook. And this is a conversation that I was having with Savita Mbuli 2 days ago at that very house where the daughter of the deceased was being told not to cry over her dad. The conversation that I had with her was that, you know, there's so many people that impose their thoughts and emotions on other people that have gone through difficult times. But the truth of the matter is there is no handbook, and we need to allow people to individually go through their journeys, you know, the way that they want to go through their journeys. There's certain things that she experienced that, you know, that people were trying to suppress. There's certain things that I did shortly after Googs passed away. The fact that I spoke at his funeral, or I was back on social media and I was posting XYZ, and people were absolutely against it. But I looked left and I continued living my life, you know, because there is no handbook. There is no grieving handbook. There is no handbook to, you know, there's no traditional handbook out there. I think everybody kind of, decides on things as they go. You know, it's this life thing is a DIY thing, and we need to respect each other and the decisions that we make about different things that we want to do with our lives, because at the end of the day, you know, I am the only person that I have to live with, you know, that I'm the only person that I have to carry through this life. If Lele too wants to do, you know, something that I don't want her to do, yes, as her mom, I'll guide her in what I think is the right direction. But at the end of the day, she has to live her life, and yeah, she's the only person that she has to carry through this life.
Sure. And you're absolutely right when you say that there is no formula, there's no handbook, and people, I think our society in general, and it's how things have always been, where people have an opinion. And I can imagine for you being in the public eye, even more so, like people will say, what, you decided to take off your ring so soon, or you're moving on. And
oh my gosh, I laughed at that, because up until even last year, and last year being 3 years down the line, I think it was actually a guy. Somebody noticed that I took a picture and I didn't have the ring on my finger, and he DM'd me and he's like, "Hi Sisi, I see your ring your ring is off your finger," and I'm like, it's 3 years. 3 years. There was a certain line that Googs and I both said on our wedding day, and that was "Till death do us part." He died 3 years ago.
Woo! Woo!
I put it
Yeah.
like that. I actually put it like that. Because sometimes you have to be direct with people. You can't be blunt and wishy-washy. You must be direct. Until today, he never responded. He never
Sure.
responded.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Straight to the point. Straight to the point.
You can't beat around the bush.
Sure. And,
Yeah.
and I suppose you're in the public eye. I think people just almost feel like they own you in a way. And because we used to see your life with Googs, and now you owe us explanations about certain things. And I love how you continue to handle it. I mean, over the years, I've watched you, how you deal with people on social media. Never mean, but like direct. And if it's something that you don't need to like partake in, you just don't. And that's really admirable, because I'm sure it takes a lot of strength to be able to, the naysayers are always there, the opinionated voices. And I think you spoke about it in the book as well. So I admire and respect you for that. Big ups to you. Because you're giving a lot of people courage.
No, thank you. You know, my philosophy in life is always, go through life with grace. It doesn't help to to beat other people down. What does it do for you? Does it make you, if it makes you feel better to pull other people down and be negative, then I don't know. I don't have words for you. But my whole thing has been, anything and everything that you do it with grace, and then one day when you die with a smile and no regrets.
Yeah. I mean, look at how fabulous you look. I was looking, it was your birthday the other day. You celebrated your birthday, am I right? It was your 36th.
It was my 36th. Sorry, there's a call coming in. I just want to cut it. Okay. We're still here, right?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yes, you were saying something for your birthday?
Yeah, I saw the other day, I was looking at you and I was like, okay, you're celebrating your 36th birthday. You look so fresh. You're looking so yummy. And I'm like, of course, we know you're fit, like you're super fit because you do all these things. I mean, there's a pop-up gym and all of that. But I think through this conversation, it's also revealing a lot. And I mean, it's stuff that I also picked up in the book, in that you're very clear and very level-headed, and you living with that grace. It gives you a certain sense of peace at a time when you're living your life in that way, where you're just taking each moment as it comes, and gracefully so. You're looking stunning at 36. You are. You're looking absolutely amazing.
Thank you. We are fighting this aging thing with a healthy lifestyle. Forever 21.
But black don't crack, hey? Black don't crack. Black don't crack.
Don't crack.
Yeah, and I'm curious now to know, with like the pop-up gym and other business ventures that I guess you want to share with us, how's that been going now during lockdown? How's that been?
It's been intense. So I've got two businesses. There's Pop-Up Gym, which most people know me by. And then there's an outdoor media company called Redlined. I'm the MD of Redlined. And that one actually showed us more flames than ever, because I'm managing a handful of billboards across the country. And when lockdown happened, businesses were like, we're not paying rent for the month. And it's like, but your billboard is up. And when you put your billboard up, I didn't say to you that you will have 1 million eyeballs, checking your billboard. I didn't pay. I didn't book you on my billboard because of that. You booked the space because you like the positioning. So I had to deal with people wanting to cancel. I was dealing with lawyers right through lockdown. But we prevailed. Lost 1 or 2, but it's lockdown level 5 and 4 showed me flames. I may not share a lot of that on social media, but it was intense. Pop-up gym, obviously, we've got 2 sides of Pop-up gym, and that's the public events, which obviously came to an end, and we kind of moved things to social media. and then the corporate sessions then had to move on to Microsoft Teams and Zoom. So there was movement, but it wasn't as it was, you know, pre-lockdown. And my whole thing, you know, when lockdown happened, in terms of pop-up gym, I said to Katie, listen, it's either we're going to ride this wave or we're going to miss it completely. So hence we then, you know, move things digitally. Sorry, this call is coming through again. Let me hang up. Way, okay, there we go. Yeah, so my whole thing is, yes, you know, there's been pay cuts, but listen, life has to continue, you know. Not many people are lucky to still have an income, and yeah, the little bit that's coming in, you make it work. So it you know, I won't lie to you, it's been intense. Besides on the work front, on the home front, it's the whole homeschooling thing, Kosiyam. Wow. Woo! So I you know, sorry, are you still there? Sorry, I just had to hang up another call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the fun mom. I'm the sing-along mom in the car. I'm the mom who plays swing ball and goes cycling. And then I had to say to my child, sweetheart, your homework for today is XYZ. She's like, Mommy, you're not my teacher. So I had to deal with things like that. She's like, no, teacher Ronald's my teacher, and she's the only one that gives me homework. So having to navigate through lockdown, through homeschooling, through a child who I have taught to be opinionated. Like I've never suppressed Letu. I've obviously I chisel her here and there, but I've taught her to speak up, because you need to have a child that's able to speak up for themselves. And she even speaks up to mom as well. And half the time she actually makes a lot of sense. You know, yes, I'm not her teacher, but because of COVID-19 and what's currently happening, you know, I had to navigate my way. And eventually she understood that, listen, you know, there's coronavirus, and because of coronavirus, we can't go to school. So Teacher Ronel has sent me your homework, and I would actually have to show her the phone to say, this is from Teacher Ronel. This is what you need to do today. And when you finish, I have to take a picture and send it to teacher. So yeah, eventually she understood the homeschool.
Oh man, I love her feistiness.
No, she's feisty. Oh, Letu is feisty, but I love it. You know, like I said, I want a child who is able to speak up if she's being bullied. You know, I want her to speak up if there's an uncle who's making her do things that she doesn't want to do, you know. I don't want a child who's soft and can be pushed left, right, and center. So yeah. Lebu says Letu is my hero. She's mine too. She's mine too. There are times when I have to reprimand her, but I reprimand her like with half a laugh, you know. But yeah, it's amazing watching that little person of mine grow.
Oh man, it's actually, I think for us parents, it's been quite a stretching experience, just having to juggle that as well as another dimension. I mean, when you became a parent, it's certainly not something that you signed up for. That, you know, you've got teachings that you will impart on them, but not like classroom type teachings where you now have to sit down and I think we've got an appreciation in this time of what role teachers actually play. Sure, yeah, that's I don't know, my son.
And you know, it literally got to a point where I was just like to the other moms and dads on our WhatsApp group, I'm like, can we please like club together to get the teacher data? Like, can we get her like 10 gigs of data, and she must just have Zoom calls with our kids every single day because we can't deal with this homework. But you know what? We've managed to navigate through it, and yeah, it's taught us a lot. And like you said, appreciation for teachers and what they do.
Absolutely. I was saying to my son, because we're ready, so I'm fortunate in a sense that my son juggles between two households. So 1 week with the father, 1 week with me. So at least I get a bit of relief the other week, alternate weeks.
Lucky you.
Listen, I counted it as a blessing. Otherwise, I'm sure by now I would have like bombed him or something.
It is.
So we're saying to him, because schools are opening next week, and we're saying to him, okay, boy, now it's time for you to go back, because he hasn't been since March. And listen, even till today, he's like, I'm not ready. He says he does not want to go to school. And I believe parents must not be those people who are imposing, you know, the same way that you say it's so important for Letshego to be able to speak all those things. We encourage that. But sometimes you're faced with certain situations where you're like, oh my goodness, this one is actually also not really negotiable because I want to know how you feel about it. But honey, for your own safety, it's best that you go back to school because mommy has had it. So,
the kids are understanding. Like they you know, and they're a lot more intelligent than we were at their age as compared to what we were at their age.
That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. I'm talking about you. I'm busy talking about you here. I'm saying that you don't want to go back to school next week.
You have to go back to school next week.
It's important that you go back to school. I'll help you just now. I'll help you. Close the door. I'm gonna help you. I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
No.
Let's so
there's a question here.
Hey?
There's a question that says, when you raise vocal kids, how do the grandparents take it? You know, for me, luckily, I've got grandparents on either side that are very liberal. Yeah, because hey, back in the day, if your kids go to granny's house and they say, no, granny, I don't want to eat XYZ, I want this, you would get a smack or two. So I'm lucky to have very liberal, you know, parents on both sides. But yeah, every now and then you have to kind of like nudge your child and say, no, we don't say that.
No.
and then she'll be like, but why can't I say that, mommy? Yeah, it's never ending. It's never ending. But honestly, I'm grateful to have you know, both Googs' mom and my mom you know, as liberal grandparents. But yeah, someone says the clap. No, there's no clapping on my side. Words. If I say to Letu, mommy's very angry. Oh, my child actually breaks down into tears. So there's no need. Words do a lot more damage than the smack.
That's very true. That is very, very true. And I think sometimes because we're all just like winging it almost. We don't know. There's no formula. We're all trying different things. Sometimes you're like, when you're frustrated, you're like, hey, maybe my words are not gonna, maybe I just need to, but you actually, so like I've never gotten used to it. But sometimes I feel it deep down. I'm just like, this boy, I feel like I won. So that, you know, I've never been one to do it.
But also, if you think about it, a smack actually doesn't last that long. The pain goes away. Words do a lot more damage. They do a lot more damage because they stay with you. So yeah, I mean, my mom has never laid a hand on me, but her words have chiseled me into the woman that I've become. And I'm doing the same thing with my kids. It was always the aunties and the grannies that, you know, that smacked here and there. But yeah, I choose a no violence home, because that can also affect a child. But I always choose my words when I speak to her, because I have to think about, you know, how is this going to affect her in the future?
The lasting impact of that. I mean, you don't want her to have to recover from that. Instagram is going to cut us because it gives us an hour limit. So I see that we are now at an hour.
Already.
It is time. It is time. So.
That hour went by so quickly.
Quickly.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely chatting to you. Thank you to everybody that joined us today. Sorry, now I'm like taking over and doing the thank yous when you should.
Listen, we joined on your live because of our technical issues, so listen.
Oh yes, but that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, thank you so much.
Please remember to save it on your IGTV, just so that I'll be able to, once it's saved, I'll just download it from there and you can delete it when you're done. But really, thank you. Thank you for honoring this. Thank you for being the queen who closes off, because I was having the Queen series this month where I was only speaking to queens. So I'm really grateful that you've afforded me the time, even though it's time for Letu now, you get a play date, but I really appreciate it. And stay being the star that you are, so beautiful and inspiring us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll save it, but I won't have a preview on my page, but it will be on my IGTV.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Cheers, everybody.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you
Bye.
for joining.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.